the papers that go with this. And for some reason, it printed off, and then they were front and back, which I didn't mind, but then one was upside down, forward. I mean, it was just all backwards. So I thought, no, this would be so distracting for them. So I had Shane, well, I didn't want to bother you. But Shane is in there making copies now, so eventually we will have copies. So that'll be good. These that I got, all of this information is from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. And what they do is they print these off weekly, and they give them to the officers as scams come through, or maybe like the most, the one that's, seen a lot, or I'm not really sure, how they pick and choose, but every week, they'll send us out a scam. Yeah. And he does have papers. How many packets do you have? I don't need one, no. Okay. So you want to count so you don't over make the packets? Yeah. All right. So anyways, these they get brought in all the time. People make reports on these. So I figured I would compile the information and I would bring it to you guys so that you guys could be aware of the scams that are out there. And I know several of you guys have come up to me and said, hey, this happened to me, or hey, this happened. So if you guys at the end will have like a little, if you want to talk about it, we'll have a few minutes to do that before we move on down to the Super Bowl. All right, so okay, turn it on. Let me see. Do I just press the green button? Is that?
Slide the switch on the socket.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that was it. Sorry. I thought it was the green button. I'm like, is it the green button? Okay. Well, we'll talk fast and kind of get through here. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, scams can happen to anyone. Don't feel ashamed that you got scammed. Just the other day, Shane said he bought me some flowers for Valentine's Day, and fishing poles showed up at the house. If you believe that, I got some property in Arizona, some beachfront property, right? No, I'm just joking. No, but honestly, I did want to let you guys know that, don't feel ashamed if it's happened to you, because these people are clever. They're clever, and they're good at what they do. That's their job. So there's several different types of scams out there. There's Facebook scams, email scams, texting scams, internet scams, fake app scams, fake PDF files, false advertisement, tax scams, and QR codes, and I'm sure there's probably many more if we thought about it. But any way they can scam you and get money out of you, they will do it. And then in your little packet, it's really small. The words are small because I at first I compiled them like in 17 different slides, but then Scott was like, oh, no, they're not going to be able to see that. It's so small. So he went and added several slides for me. He's amazing. So anyways, but in your notes, they will be a little bit smaller. And they'll be together. They won't look quite like this. So there's the phishing emails. The phishing emails deals with, social engineering scams where they try to deceive you, and they try to get into revealing sensitive information by installing some type of malware. And then there's the SMS smishing. That deals with your mobile device. So phones and texting. Then the FBI has got this new this new term that they've coined, and they call it the callback phishing. And what this is instead of people giving you a link to click on, they'll just give you a phone number in your email, and they'll want you to call that phone number. Cyber criminal, I think you guys are aware of what cyber criminals are. It's just that's where they engage in the criminal activity on the internet or in computers. So there's different kinds of malware. There's malware, there's ransomware, there's viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and spyware. There's actually 5 or 6 more different things, but I think these are the more popular ones that they use more commonly. The malware is just software that disrupts or damages or even gains unauthorized access to your computer system. And then the R is the ransomware, where it infects your whole system and it encrypts it with their data, and then, so that you can't get to your data at all. And so then you would have to call them, and when you pay to get your data back, that's what they want. They want the money. And then there's the viruses that we all talk about. Oh, my computer got a virus. It's the most common. It's spread throughout the whole system, infecting all or most of the programs that are on our computer. And then the Trojan horse, it appears as a legitimate software, which these are kind of scary because it appears as a legitimate software, and you think that, you're like, oh, this is good software for my computer. I'm going to download it. But then if it's a Trojan horse, then it'll get in there and tear your computer up with, all the other stuff that it can do, disrupts and damages and things like that. The worm, it said it can self-replicate without even having a host, without a host program. So it can spread without any kind of interaction from malware authors. And so there's a lot of stuff out there, and they're very clever in what they can come up with and create. They can cause mass chaos. The vishing is when they call you and act like they're like an IT, or they feed you some kind of line, and then they try to steal information over the phone from you. So those are, those aren't like your normal scammers, but the vishing can definitely go along with that. And then, there's the Facebook scams. Facebook scams are very popular, and all they need you to do is they'll talk to you for a while, and then you just click on a link once you guys get comfortable with your conversation. Usually they start up a conversation, and, it'll say something like, oh, I can't believe he's gone. I'm going to miss him so much. Or they'll get something that's going to be an attention grabber for you. And you're like, oh, this must be someone I know. They must be talking about such and such who just passed. Or, and so it kind of leads you to believe that you know this person. Or they'll say, the men fall prey to this one. It'll say, hello, this is Nicole. And so then the men will click on it and be like, oh, they're wanting conversation. They're wanting to conversate with me. And then this one has actually happened to me. It says, is this you in that video? Well, a lot of people do that because they're like, was this you? Was this you on Channel 5 News? Was this you? I'm like, no, probably not. And I've clicked on it before, and they wouldn't open. Praise God. So it didn't affect my phone. And it was actually someone from this church. So, sometimes, this may be innocent enough, but when it doesn't open, when the video doesn't open, that's definitely a sign that it could have been, but they've just pulled it, or, and then they'll say something like, hello, how are you doing? I have tons of those in my chats, my Facebook chats. I just ignore them. It doesn't even have a face to it, and if it doesn't have a face, if it doesn't have a name, I don't do it. Or if they've sent me, if I've had them as a friend in the past, but for some reason they've either taken themselves off Facebook or whatever, but then they come back and their name is a little bit changed, a little bit, spelt wrong, maybe a letter or 2 letters off. I won't even give that a second look. So on the Facebook scams, you want to look for the misspelled names. You want to look for, if you've already had them as a friend, then you want to check and make sure that your friend hasn't gotten off there, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes they delete their account and they want to re-add you. That happens quite a bit, but you just want to make sure that they're not on there. If they are on there, use that request and send them, say, hey, did you just resend me this, or did you open a new account? And make sure it's good for them too. It does 2 things. It gives your friends heads up, and it protects you if it is a scam. So never click on the links. if you don't know the person, never click on the link. But if you know the person and you feel like it could be trustworthy, then that's fine. Or just remember that their account could be compromised too. So they could be sending you a virus that they didn't even know. When you use the MFA, the multi-factor I can never pronounce that word. Yep, authentication. So, which is basically a multi-step. It just goes further to protect you. So it's not just a password, but it's a little bit more of a process to log on. It's a hassle, and nobody likes it. I know every time, something happens, and it's like, oh, now there's another process, and I'm like, oh man, but we have to do this. It's sad that we have to do this nowadays so that, they don't get past what's in place already, these procedures. So the email scams, there's quite a bit of them, and, honestly, I just started printing this off like in October. So this is just from October. So all of these things that we've talked about, some of them they're kind of duplicates, so I didn't add a lot of them. But the one thing that you're going to notice on these is think before you click. I've put that a lot in there, and then also when you get scammed from your emails, it's always a link they want you to click on or a number they want you to call back. And usually, it's just something that you can just delete. So it says Duolingo was hacked. A lot of companies has been hacked, but it sent spoof emails out to everyone saying they needed to change their password or their email address immediately. And, the thing is that if you see these, like, it's the urgency, and so that makes people in a state of panic, and so they're not thinking properly. And so these emails are designed to catch people off their guard and trigger them to make them click impulsively, click the link or call the number back, do what they got to do before all their money's gone. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to put a person in panic. I think each slide is going to have an email scam, so we'll just go down the list. But LastPass was, they were victim by this as well. They sent out a spoof email that was sent out to everyone, and it was saying, verify your information, click on the link and log in. And when that happens, when you log in, obviously, you're logging in and giving them all your password information. So it's a fake, it's a spoof logon, and so you'll never get to that site. If you ever have things like this, emails like this, and they're wanting you to, hey, verify this, we're doing an update, whatever it is, just go to the official site. Just navigate to the official site and do it off of there. So you should never click on anything from your email to get to where you're going. You should just be able to go to that site and do it. And then also, this is important to stay educated and watch for the new data breaches, because in your news they'll tell you all that. They'll tell you, when Liberty Hospital, it happened to Liberty Hospital, and I think it happened to another hospital around here. And so when that happens, they'll definitely indicate to the public, to watch for it and not to click on anything that you get from them. Amazon is well known, and it's used by a lot of people, most people around the world, which makes it easy for you to be victimized if you use it, because you probably are using it, and they know that. So always be suspicious of any emails that people are asking for, your personal or financial information. If you get any emails asking you to verify, then, like I said, go to their website. Don't click on the link that they give you. Actually, Amazon, they do that with your phone too. So, and I'm sure people's received it. Hey, you just had this purchase. Click here if you confirm that this is a purchase, or, and what they're doing is trying to get some kind of malware on your phone. So the callback phishing, this happens to several companies. This happens to several of people, and what they do is they disguise themselves as companies. Like this one, Disney was just really big recently, and it said it appears as an invoice, and you get the invoice, and it says, hey, you're going to be charged with a new subscription, and if you, it says, to direct you to call this certain number, and then, if it was an unauthorized purchase, well, you're going to say, of course it wasn't unauthorized. I didn't do that. So you're going to want to call this number, and then it's even more alarming because it's like 3 times higher than what it probably really is. So you're just like, wow, I don't want to get charged for that. So that's going to make you want to come back and call that number and say, no, cancel anything. I didn't purchase that. But, be aware of the urgency. Once again, if anything is telling you it's urgent that you, call right now, businesses aren't going to have that. They're not going to have this urgency for you to call back. The grammar is usually a telltale sign because they usually they'll reference something in there that's it'll say, are you going to be paying with real credit or a debit card? No one asked you that. So if someone's asking you for that type of information, it's definitely false. It's definitely false. And another big thing is to look at the timing. The timing is huge because, it doesn't matter, even if it's a mass email sent out from a business, they're not going to send it out at 1 in the morning. Even when it's computer generated, they're not going to send it out at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, or probably even 6 at night or 7 at night. They're not going to do that. It's going to be during the normal business hours when when they do all their business through with the public. And so timing's huge. And then just once again, avoid calling any numbers, navigate to the official site, and find a good contact there. I know I keep putting that in, but I want to really reinforce that. So don't call any numbers back. Don't click on any links. So email scams, again, the phishing callback, they'll send you emails claiming that you've been pending a charge and you have to call them. And when you use... And sometimes I don't know if you guys have worked in a department where there's an IT, and then they'll say, okay, you're like, I got this problem and it's not working, and they'll go, okay, well, we have a remote system. We're going to log onto your thing, and then we'll get you up and running. Just let me have control of it. I'm like, okay, yeah. I click it. I give them control. Well, that's what these scammers have, that capability, that system too. It manages it remotely connects to you and then controls your device. And so they can manage anything once they get on there. So be aware of the urgency once again. Avoid the numbers provided in the emails. Timing and grammar is huge. It says consider other details like, does your bank send you an email if there's a purchase? Does your bank send you an email? Probably not. Mine sends me a text. Mine sends me a text and says, was this an authorized purchase? And I don't mind clicking yes, because I know it was an authorized purchase. Now, if it wasn't something that I purchased, then I may not click on the link. I may just call my bank and go, hey, did you guys get this? Was this on my charge card or my debit card or whatever? And then they'll say yes, and I'll say, okay, no, you need to stop that. So I would never click on it. If I didn't spend it, I would never click that link and go, yeah, unauthorized. Because you know what? I mean, it's probably easy to guess. There's only 5, 6, 7, 8 banks out there they can guess, and Community America is probably pretty popular in our area. So I mean, I would think that people would be able to figure something out like that, or guess, and probably get some good results. So the next one, these are popular in November and December, but the FedEx and the UPS, they were sending those out, and they were saying, hey, we've got shipping and tracking information, asking you about a purchase. They wanted to confirm, whether you bought it or not, and then, or fake shipping delays. And so FedEx and UPS, they're not going to have your email address. They're not going to have your telephone number either. They have your address, and that's it. The company that you bought this stuff, they have all that information, but they're not going to give that to an outside company. So they don't have your number. And even if you even if the store that you purchased it from, if you did get an email from them, all you have to do is call that store back. I wouldn't click on anything from your email. And then you would have to look for, if I did get that email, I would be looking for specific information. It should say something about your order number. And so you would know right away. It should say something about the date you purchased. It would have that probably in the email. Maybe the payment method. You used a MasterCard. So I would definitely be looking for all these small details if you did order from a company and you wanted, if you thought there was a problem with your order. Once again, you'd be looking for the timing on the email. And be looking for the prices, because sometimes they fool you with the prices because the currency isn't the American currency. It'd be like 100 dineros or, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, right? So that's a telltale sign as well. This is a big one. This just happened to Pleasant Valley at the end of last year. The domains on the email, they're changed just slightly. Just to trick you, just enough to trick you. So it says, instead of it being like .com, maybe it's the little box around the dot. And it still looks like .com, but it's not. I mean, those are actual characters, so it changes everything. Or they change things slightly, like, in the email.
They can even just put a space.
A space, yep. Yep, it is a character, and it changes the whole thing. And so sometimes, like, instead of saying Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, they slightly switch it around, and when you read it, your eyes will go right over it because you're so used to looking at it, you're like, Pleasant Valley Church Baptist, oh. And you don't even notice it. It's so slight, and you've seen it so much, like Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, sometimes you would just even look that over, especially if you're in a hurry. You would click on it, and then they have you. I think what happened with Pleasant Valley was it sent out a mass email to all the members. And the lady I work with, her husband got pulled into that. And, he called her and he's like, the pastor's wanting me to go out and grab some cards. And he's like, I'm going to do this for him. You're like the pastor, especially a big church. You're like, wow, he's emailing me. Wow, that's great, And so you're thinking, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and it obviously was a scam, and so his wife was like, no, wait, before you go buy those, wait a minute, and so she's like, let's think about this. Why don't you call up to the church and ask them? And that's when they figured out, yeah, it was a scam. So sometimes, when we get these and it's us that's clicked on them, it's us that's involved in them, we don't really notice. We don't really notice the all the red flags, because you're just like your mindset is one thing, And so if you're not out of the box looking in, you don't see some of those red flags. Or if you do, you're like, sounds strange, but hey, there's some things that do sound strange to us, right? And they work out just fine. So we definitely have to be careful. That actually happened to us, but it wasn't an email scam. It was a texting scam that they had done to our church. And we'll get back to that. But I wanted to point out just some things that are slightly different. Hey, Scott, if you can pull up the number 1 there. So it says the Wells Online Bank 2 at comcast.net. Now it doesn't show us what the actual email address is, but it's obviously that's not Wells Fargo or whatever this is. That's not their email. That's going back to something else, someone else other than them. Can you pull up the 2? Thanks. So it says alert in the subjects. That's urgency. And what they're doing is they're creating some type of chaos, some type of panic to get you to act quickly and do that immediately. Do you want to go down to the next one? It says, for your protection and security reasons. Once again, there's an urgency there. It wouldn't say that in a regular email. Wells Fargo wouldn't. They would be sending you probably something on your in mail, or if it's your bank that you're going through, they probably have your text, and they would probably send you something through text. And then at the bottom it says log into. Well, it's a fake online banking. See, so you're going to log into something that's not even. It's a spoof login. So when you log into it, online banking, you're going to be giving them all your banking information. So one below that. Okay. And on the other example, it shows you it's the time. It's pointing to the time. Today at 5:49, it's telling you that this was sent out. They're not going to send that out at 5:49. All my emails pretty much come in between like 8 in the morning and noon, or 8 and 1, something like that. That's if I'm going to get an email that day, it's going to be early from these businesses. So the texting scams, the texting scams is that's pretty much, they're all pretty popular, but these are the most popular ones. You'll get a message from a bank that's an impersonator saying your bank has been frozen from suspicious activity, and then obviously don't click on any links. Call the bank directly. So if it said your account's been frozen, or it's been tried to hack into several times, call the bank directly. Package delivery notices. So don't click on these. We get these on our phones sometimes. It was the UPS and the FedEx that I was talking about. The shipping delays, or confirmation of you buying something. Amazon does this, or the scam is for Amazon too. So Amazon, FedEx, UPS, all those, the popular delivery carriers, they're going to use all those names.
Be familiar with the type of numbers that FedEx and UPS, they have standard 16-digit numbers.
It's good to know.
And there's like a Z that's always there. You'll get numbers that are like 6 or 8 long from these places. And that's a definite fake, because if you go online, and they will tell you how many digits are supposed to be.
So he says it's pretty standard for you to have so many digits, and then because if you get like a little 5 or 6 digit code, then that's definitely going to be a fake one, because they have like a 16-digit standard that they use. So it's good information.
Amazon uses TBD.
TB, like Ted Boy, David.
To be determined, and then there's a bunch of numbers.
Okay.
FedEx is a Z, I believe, and I forget what UPS is.
UPS is with Z as the second character.
Okay. So that's very good information. And you can probably just Google, like what's a Amazon shipping number, or what's a FedEx shipping number, and you could see like, oh, okay, this doesn't look anything like that. So.
Watch those numbers, they'll reveal a fake real quick.
Yeah, sure. That's definitely a good sign to look for. On number 3, it talks about the IRS and the government notices. Sometimes they'll say something like, you have a warrant for your arrest. She's laughing. That's probably happened to her or some friend, right? Yeah, and so they'll tell you they have a warrant for your arrest. They'll tell you that it's, or they could say that it's possibly like a stimulus too, and that will make people want to click on it, because they're like, oh, I'm going to get a couple thousand out of this. But then in reality, they'll be stealing a couple thousand from you. So definitely just delete those. Just delete them. The IRS is never going to text you. Never.
They don't text you, they don't call you.
That's right.
You calling them first.
That's right.
Except when I worked for the IRS, I did have to make some phone calls.
Did you? But they could probably call you back, and you probably offered them that if they were leery. Yeah. The sweepstake prize winner notification. This is a big one because, everyone wants to win some money, right? But if you've never entered, that should be a red flag for you. Like, why would they have my information? I've never even played this. So that's definitely a no-brainer. Never click on something like that. And then the wrong number from a fake friend message. Sometimes they'll make it sound like they have the wrong number. Like, for example, they'll say something like, hey, had a great time yesterday meeting your family. Please let us get together again and do this real soon. And you hear this and you're like, oh, this was sent to me. It was supposed to be sent to someone else. And you almost feel obligated to call these people back and go, hey, you got the wrong number. Because you want it to be delivered to the right people, right? It's like they work on our heart, And then the thing is that then they get information from you. So just delete that. And I know it sounds awful. But sometimes even like on Mother's Day or Christmas or Thanksgiving, I've had several phones, but sometimes every time you get a phone, like all the contacts don't transfer over for some reason. And so I see some head nodding. Exactly. And so when you do that, you lose people's number, and then they have yours, so they'll text you, and you'll be like, oh. I used to say, oh, thank you so much. Who is this again, right? But now I don't even text them back and say, who is this? Because chances are if they're going to text someone, it's 50-50 chance it's going to be a woman on Mother's Day, right? And Christmas, you're going to say Merry Christmas to someone, right? And then there's the Happy Thanksgiving. I apologize if it's happened to anyone that's listening or here in the crowd, but I don't text back now. And so hopefully, if they don't get a response from me, they text me and go, hey, this is Trish. And I'm like, oh, Trish, I'm sorry. Let me put you on my phone. And I would do that immediately. But if they don't text me back again, I just delete it. It's sad how the world's came, and it makes us so guarded now. So the texting scams, they want some type of ransom. I had talked to someone in the church about this, and poor thing was beside themselves and called me almost in tears and said that these people had texted them and said that they had pictures of them. Obviously, that was wrong. But they were going to send these nude pictures out to everyone in their contacts. And I said, you know what? The thing is that if your wife don't believe it, well, I just gave it away. But that's it. If your wife don't believe it, then you know what? It's okay. That they're going to know it's a scam. And everyone that they send that out to, they're going to know that's a scam too. And so I said, you may want to send out a contact to all your, contacts already and say, I had some ransom on my phone and they're threatening this. Just FYI, if you do receive pictures, please don't think that's me, And so you can put that out there prior to. I think it all worked out and everything was fine. But people do this. People will get on your phone and they can get contact. They can get your contact. And so all they have to do is be able to get into your phone. And this malware will let them. So if you click on something and you think, oh, that was, nothing happened, my phone didn't freeze up, I'm good. Well, they may be having this in their bank for a rainy day and come back a month later and say, hey, we need some money from you, we're going to do this. So, and I told that person, just tell them, say, I'm reporting this to the police and delete the number and just go from there. Don't give the person any more information. Don't make them think that you're scared. Just let it go. Our church was involved in a texting scam. Let me see. Our church was involved in the texting scam, and they asked them to go buy cards, and it was basically from pastor, said, hey, go buy these cards, and take pictures of the front and back once you buy the cards, and then I'll reimburse you for them, was the text. Well, it was sent out to several people in our church, and so there was someone out of the goodness of their heart, bought these cards and thought that it was the pastor. And so I think our church did reimburse them. I don't know if we would ever be able to use them. They were $200 a piece. They were Apple cards. So if you guys do get a text from the pastor and it says, hey, go out and buy these cards, I wouldn't listen to any of it. And some people did text the pastor back and said, hey, what's going on? Why didn't I questioned it, so good for them. But they didn't actually get what they intended because the person that bought those cards sent them the pictures straight to Pastor Shane's phone and not to this phone number that they gave them. So these people didn't end up getting what they got, but this person was out, some money, which is very sad. So just be aware, that people can call you and their story sounds so good. Their story sounds so good. It's so convincing.
I get calls from my grandson. This is Grandma. Hi, Grandma. I said, oh, that's funny. I didn't know I had any grandkids. Yeah, I got a call from a grandson. Yeah. That's quite interesting.
That's funny. It's funny. And me and Shane's got it where, we've just kept the person on the phone for a while. Just, and Trisha's had some stories like that too. These people, they're just awful. But it says the texting scams, according to the report of the security vendor, Zimperium, states that it's 6 to 10 times higher to get tricked by a smishing, which is the phone, than regular emails nowadays. They're designed for mobile devices. It says that they reported a 51% increase in mobile malware samples in 2022. The report also states that 80% of the malicious website functions on mobile were on mobile browsers. So this means that they're targeting the mobile devices. And some of us, like me, I'm like, if I'm on my computer, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to that site because I don't trust it. Like, even if my work said, hey, go to this site for teaching tips or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to do it on my phone. But the thing is that now a lot of it's going to our phone. And so you're not really safe from this stuff anywhere. You just really have to be careful what you're clicking on. And don't download anything. Don't download anything unless it is, you are 100% that it's a safe site.
If you didn't ask for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If it's an email, you don't download it. And even if you go to the site and you're like, oh, that's a great form, I could use that form. You're like, is this a good site? It's scary. Like because it could be a Trojan horse. It looks legit, but you just don't know. And so, and the other thing is these alerts on your phone. Everyone gets alerts on our phone. Now, the Amber Alerts, they're safe, all right, because that's per the government. It has to be on every cell phone. So you're safe with getting the Amber Alerts. But some of these other alerts that come through your phone, did you sign up for notifications from these alerts?
Amber Alert doesn't require text back.
No, it doesn't. Well, and some of these other alerts don't either. But it clicks on it, like maybe it's a news, something from the news, and you're like, what? I don't think I've ever put the news break or something like that. I don't think I've ever put that on my phone. And so when you click on it, you never know, unless you've went there and you've added that app to your phone. Don't click on it. Don't click on these alerts that you're getting on your phone. If they're not an app that's on your phone, don't click on them. Even if you think that they're from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, we're not going to send you any apps. We're not going to send you any alerts if you didn't download us, right? Even if you think they're from a good source, if you didn't sign up for any, don't click the alerts to open them. And then it says, just because you're getting the alerts too doesn't mean that the phone company's sending them to you either. So once again, just don't click on these alerts unless you're for sure that you've already done that, downloaded it. So real quickly, we'll try to go through these. The internet scams, the fake app scams, fake PDF files, false advertisement. There's a ton of them out there. And this one is videos were posted on X, it's now Twitter, right? So if you have Twitter, it's called X now. But it says it was about the war. It showed pictures, but it was firework bursts of celebration, and then it was video game. It was video game images. That's how real life they are now. Well, people were, they're playing on people's emotions. They're wanting people to click on these, maybe give money, to look at it. Some people are just curious about what's going on over there in the war. So when they click on these pictures, it's obviously malicious. It's, and it's attachments that, will cling to your phone and do some damage. LinkedIn, that's a big one right now. People are sending those to you. These usually go through like your emails, like such and such is, it's a job offer. And especially if we have someone in our family and we're like, oh, such and such is looking for a job. Let me see if, that would be good for them, even if we're not looking for a job, and then we get caught up in that. So I wouldn't click on the LinkedIn. If you aren't expecting anything from that company, don't click on it. If you aren't expecting anything from any place like that, don't click on any of these LinkedIns. And if it says it's easy income, then it's probably not, because it says it's easy, but it's a scam because yeah, it's very easy for them, for sure. But they use, these social engineering tactics to gain your trust, steal your money. They want you to watch videos. This was just one of the scams. There's several social engineering scams, but tactics. But they want you to watch these videos, and then you click on it, and you like the videos, and you're like, wow, I get paid for doing this? No way. They send you some money the first day. Maybe the second day they'll send you some more money, and then they say, okay, now, if you want to do this some more, you're going to be on our VIP list, but you're going to have to invest a little money with us. And then you send them $1,000 because you're like, well, they've already paid me, so they're a legit company. And you're like, I want to be on the VIP list. And then, then you'll start making the big money, and, well, you won't, because they're going to pack up shop. You'll never hear from them again. And so the other one is stay away from the crypto ads on X, which is Twitter. They're fake. And I don't know why they keep letting them circulate. That baffles me, but they're fake, and it says that you have to set up an account with them, and then you transfer the exchange of the cryptocurrencies, like the Bitcoin or whatever, and then you transfer that, and they give you an account to transfer it in, and they say they're going to transfer it back with money. It never works like that, obviously. Another scam is it's a fake app by the fake police. They contact you claiming that your bank account has been involved in some fraud. They tell you to download this app. They sound super convincing. Sometimes we look at these and we're like, well, who would do that? But when you're the person getting this scammed, it is very convincing. They tell you to download the app to help you investigate this further, and then you're given a case report number, and then when you look this case report number up, you're on the documents. Like, they're quick. You're on the documents. Like, oh, okay. You read it. You let your guard down a little bit. And when they ask you some more questions, you're like, okay, the police would know this. Okay, you let your guard down a little bit more, and then they'll work in there. Okay, what's your bank account? Go ahead and enter that, because you feel safe now. You feel comfortable with them. And this app is clever, and what it does is it's pretty impressive. It's pretty complex, but it will block all your incoming calls and texts so that your bank can't send you alerts saying you're being scammed right now. They can't send you any alerts. So, or, you have unusual bank account behavior on your bank account. So you just, anything they can do, they will do. And this one is, PDF files. Once again, just make sure you're doing it from a trusted site because you don't want any of this malware on your computer. And I'd said this previously, but you're taking a risk. I mean, you think it's a good company, but that company could be compromised as well. So it's very scary. Tax scams, especially during this season, they're just huge. And sometimes, if there's a problem, they're not going to contact you via email or text like we said, but you said, and they won't call you either. You'll get something in the mail. And for the digital documents, you can use extra password protection for that. And for, your paper copies, just shred that. Make sure it's in a safe location. If it's past that 7 years or you just want to keep it longer, then that's fine. But if you don't need it, shred it. Don't just throw it away. So I think most of us know that, especially if we're older, because that's what we used to do, right? Before we went into all this digital stuff. So.
And if you got Community America, you can always take your old stuff in and they'll shred it for you.
Okay, she says. Okay. All right, so they said libraries and Community America will shred stuff for you. So that's good to know. So more and more businesses are going to the scan and go codes. For example, some of the restaurants use them for their menus. I mean, it's just more commonly used. And I love it. And just real quick, so the police department now, our TIPS hotline, they've gone to a QR code. And it's basically for, it's just easy access. So we put it in all the high schools. We put it in all the stalls. So no one can see them downloading or trying to do anything, but it's on their phone. Once they scan it, now they can go to it and their own private, so if they heard something, they saw a fight, they want to report someone had a gun, there was a homicide they witnessed in their neighborhood, whatever the information is, they see it. They just don't tell us. Because they don't want to call, they don't want any kind of connection. But once they do this QR code, you're just known as a number. We don't even know people's name. So basically, we, say you see something, you scan it, and it goes straight to Hot Tips hotline. They'll generate you a number, and then if it comes through and there's arrest made, that it leads to something, then they'll cut you a check. Depending on how big the crime is, the check gets bigger. And so, and they cut you that check or they give you that cash in the office and you just present that number, And so it's really gotten a lot of people participating in it, and the QR codes are helping tremendously because we put them in all the bathrooms and all the high schools, and so it's wonderful. They make it really easy for us, and they can be used in good ways, but there's also things out there. Even if you get one in your email, that's like the big thing. They'll send you the QR code in your email now. Be looking for the email time, be looking for the spelling errors, and then be looking for just going back to that website. So don't scan these, but I just pulled these off the images, so I don't really know. But there's different colors in your printout. I think they're black and white, possibly, but they could be different colors. They could be different sizes. And the thing is that we don't know that they're false until we click on them. But just because they're a different color doesn't mean that they are false. But you just have to know the source they're coming back to. That's ours. Isn't it so cute with the little dinosaur? If you guys want to scan that, you can. That'll go straight to our website. That's not in your packet. Unfortunately, that's not in your packet because Scott, he added some slides for me, and I was like, oh, let's put our churches in there. It was like a last-minute thought. But you guys got the packet that I initially did this morning, so. But if you guys want to scan it, here, let me take it back. You guys wanting to scan it? Scott, where would they find our QR code? Is that on our website?
I don't know if it's on the website. I just generated it. Is it in the bulletin? I don't have one back here with me. I just generated this from Google. I use my computer to get to our website, and then you can just right-click on the page, and Google Chrome has this option to generate a QR code, and that's how I did this.
Now, with that being said, did you see how easy that was for him to generate the code? So we have to be careful, but it was super easy, and it goes right to our webpage. Isn't that fun? It's great. It's easy access. So these are very convenient. You just have to make sure you know the site that they're coming from. And this is the last thing really I have to report was MGM Studios. They posed as employees. They called IT. They stole a lot of information. Facebook Messenger, they ask you questions about your business. I don't know if any of you guys have little small businesses, but just never download messages that you weren't expecting. That goes for your business email as well. Conferences. This happened in the summit, but this can definitely happen in conferences too. I mean, like I said, I really only have since October. But if you're going to a conference, then you are expecting some emails, right? Be careful. Be checking those times. Be checking information that you would think would be in your email. If it's just a very generic email, I don't know if I would open that. So, sending quotes. Sometimes they'll send you quotes and say, this is usually for businesses, but it can be someone sending you a quote like, hey, can you check this quote? This is how much it would be to replace a roof. This is how much it would be to replace siding, and you definitely could get caught up in that too. You're like, oh, that's, and even if it says it. Now, I can beat any price, so check this price and see if it's good, but I can beat any price. It may be something tempting like that to, pull you in. So don't check those quotes if you aren't expecting it. If someone didn't come out, look at your house, don't open any quotes. Hospitals, this just happened like we talked about earlier in Liberty. These hospitals, they got, their whole system was infected, and so it shut their whole hospital down. I mean, not just their IT department, it shut the whole hospital. They had to move patients out of the hospital into other hospitals, which was horrible. And then so just be careful because, and like we said, make sure you're staying up to date on the news and staying educated with all these breaches that are happening in our nation. One time it was Walmart's. One time it was, so I mean, it's always someone who's being breached. And like it said before, the MGM Studios, it was someone who posed as an employee and called their IT. So, I mean, it isn't always about clicking, and you just really have to protect yourself. And so if you are getting these emails, these companies could have been breached, and they're sending you emails from this company, and they may have some sensitive information, but they may want more. So that's all I have. I hope you guys were informed. Maybe as I build these scams up, I print them off when they're sent to me weekly, so maybe I can, keep you up to date on the newest scams. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add? I know that we're like 5 minutes till the game.
Having worked for the government and working for medical, because I worked at Med for Home, if you have an email that comes in and you have a mixture of capital letters and lowercase letters in the same thing, and
Yes.
back and forth, don't open it. It's a scam.
Yes, grammar is huge in these. Misspelled words, sometimes they'll go from English to other languages. So grammar, like anything that looks, if there's one red flag, don't do it. You're like, oh, that's probably a typo. Don't do it. Just don't open it.
The other thing they taught us in Med for Home, Wind Care, and even the government told us, on your phone, we as a community, we allow our phones to do way too much. Do not keep clicking, yeah, share this, yes, give me notifications, yeah, know where I'm at. Don't allow all that stuff because your phone doesn't need to do all that.
Yeah.
And it's just giving your information away.
Yeah. And there is privacy. She was saying that, you go in and yes, every time it asks you a question, you don't have to do that. And you can go in your phone and you can change your privacy settings too. So did anyone else have anything? That was really great information to share.
What was that site that you said, I think it's like a credit thing, and they called and they said, and you challenged them saying, well, they'll never give that information.
Well, credit card companies will call and say that they can give you a lower interest rate. When you ask them where they got their information, they'll say they got it from Credit Bureau Experian. That's not true. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion never give anybody information on you unless you apply for an account through them.
Good information. So you were saying, what were the companies? Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, credit bureaus. They will never give you. They will never give
somebody your information unless you, like, the best.
someone. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this really quick so people over the air can hear this. So they won't give you information. You said
They won't give the company information.
they won't give the company information unless you've applied and okay.
And the best way to protect yourself is to freeze all 3 credit bureaus.
So freeze them is the thing to do.
Call that specific credit bureau.
And you can get a copy of your credit report from each one of them once a year.
Okay, and then once you've frozen them, then you can get a copy of your credit report. You don't even have to freeze them. You can just call and get a copy of your credit report. Once a year. It's good to know.
Just call them and tell them you want a credit report? Or email them? Email them, okay.
Go to their website.
Okay. And if anybody calls and asks for information, never say yes, ever. If they already know your name, they already know your address. If they ask you your birthday, don't give it to them. If they ask you your social, don't give it to them. You know, no, don't ever give anybody your credit card number unless you've initiated the call.
Good information. So don't. She said don't say yes if they call and they're wanting you to get your recording of you saying yes. Don't respond with yes, and don't give them any information over the phone.
The same thing with Medicare.
Yes, Medicare calls a lot.
Is coming through a lot.
You're saying so when Medicare calls you, or it's a fake?
They're not really Medicare.
Gotcha. So Medicare is they're not going to call you over the phone and not going to elicit answers from you over the phone. Got it.
See, I don't even answer the phone.
Let it go to voicemail, right? You'll call them back.
Yeah, they never leave a voicemail, but if I don't recognize the number, I have a phone that tells me who's calling. And if I don't recognize all the numbers, I don't answer.
That's very helpful.
I mean, that's how I grow it. I don't know. That keeps me from having fun. Yes.
Yeah, Tricia does her
Fraternal order of police will call you according to somebody.
They will. Yeah, it's the National Fraternal Order of Police. Yeah. I mean, they have all these telemarketers, and they. Yeah. Scott.
Yeah, just to go back to something you were saying, you mentioned it earlier about clicking on links. So the text you see on a hyperlink or even an email address isn't necessarily where that link is going to send you, and you mentioned that. But a good way to check is if you're on a computer with a mouse, you can hover your mouse over that link, and down in the bottom left corner, you'll see where it's going to send you. And so if those don't match up, that's really suspicious.
Very
and
good. Very helpful.
If you're on your smartphone, you can tap and hold a link, and it will bring up the information. And again, that's a way to check to see if where it's sending you is the same as what it's showing on the screen.
Practice before you do it, though, right? On a good link.
Yep.
Now, was that over? Can people online hear that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, do we have anything else? If you want, yeah.
Just real briefly,
And I actually already shared a little bit of it, but
you did. What I was going to help just validate what you said, when the whole scam took place with the texting for our church, the first thing that would have been a noticeable thing for you is that the number didn't belong to me. The number that was sent with the text was 607-262-9328. That's not me. Yeah, I have an 816 number. And if you have me locked in your phone, if I'm texting you, it should pop up with my name connected to me. But like she said, be looking for things. And so this is from Andrew. He sent me the text and stuff that they had sent to him. And it simply said this, just real simple. It said, "Hi, Andrew, I need a favor from you. Text me back when you get my message, Pastor Shane Stam." And I wouldn't be that formal with you in a text. That's another possible clue. Okay, not that I don't feel like I need to be, but I just wouldn't. I'd say Pastor Shane or Shane, real simple. So apparently Andrew responded back to him, and this is the response they sent. Glad to hear from you. I'm currently in a meeting. Would have called. I need to get an Apple gift card today for some woman battling cancer in the hospital, but I can't do that right now because of my busy schedule. Can you get it from a nearby store now, and I will repay you? Thanks. Well, that went out to all of our deacons. What we had figured out, Kelly and I, was that they had to have found numbers in some fashion. And so we went back through some of our stuff that we put out here, and in our website, there's actually the deacons' phone numbers that are on the bulletins that, remember when they were printed in the bulletins? And so all of the deacons got that message. And so again, just something to check, as you're looking at these things.
And it's the
I love
urgency. It was the
it's
urgency.
the urgency. I love your willingness to help, but I also don't want you put in a pickle either. And so I want you to really check that out. Call me. Call me, and don't do anything until you hear that from me. Bless you. Because we want to keep everybody safe. And it still worked out just fine. Like she said, the one that sent me the cards actually sent it to my phone number and not the 607 number because they got confused by it. So the cards were still good, and what they do is they get the numbers off of them because you're taking pictures of them, showing them the numbers, and they use those. I am not going to ask you for an Apple card for a woman who's battling cancer.
For $200.
For $200 each. What is she going to do with an Apple card? She's going to buy her some games on her phone? Is she going to, buy some movies off Netflix? Because if you get me wanting a card, it's going to be to Hy-Vee or Walmart or something where somebody can actually get tangible things. These were Apple cards they asked for. That should be another.
Yeah. And even if she
indication.
is in the hospital, with cancer, we're not going to supply that kind of money, for her. When there's people that are, need it for their bills and
Not
stuff.
$400 for the Apple cards. But, it is what it is. But I just thought I'd share kind of the particulars of what actually happened here. And it's been happening to Pleasant Valley and some other churches. It's been really popular over the last year. Yeah.
The bigger ones get email. And so when you let them use your phone, they quickly can get in your phone, and it looks like they're dialing numbers, but they're looking through your apps, they're getting your cash apps, and they can transfer $1,000 from your Venmo account that's hooked to your bank account into their Venmo bank account. And then they're like, and then maybe they may even do this. Oh, I couldn't get a hold of them. Thanks for letting me use your phone. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, not a problem. You're thinking you did a great thing, and they just stole some money from you. So that's been pretty popular too. So you know what? Basically, I guess I could tell you that to protect yourself, but put passwords on everything. Put passwords on everything. So I guess the game doesn't start until 5:30, which is great. So we're not missing anything. So was there any other scams that people wanted to talk about to inform each other? We can get a microphone for you.
I did that once. It was too good. I was like, oh, a jet ski. I was like, okay. But they lived, they were getting ready to ship out, so it was using the military as your thing. I have to sell them because I'm going overseas because the military's doing this. So she had a jet ski and a trailer, and it was at a normal price that you'd see it. I was like, okay, it looks nice. Yeah, they didn't have anything.
Yeah. They're very clever, yeah, and they just they play on people's heartstrings. They
If I have to work, so do they.
well, and honestly, if they would use all that good knowledge for something, man, what a world we would live in. It's really unfortunate. But thank you guys for your input. Anything else, Trish?
As a collector for 30 years, it's best if you don't buy stuff you can't afford.
Yeah, I would say so.
Don't use your charge card just to use your charge card unless you can pay it off at the end of the month. That will get you in so much trouble.
Not a scam tip, but it's definitely a helpful tip, right? It's definitely a helpful tip.
I've never had a credit card, but when I was buying my house, they demanded that I have one because I needed to show that I have a revolving account.
Sure.
I was like, so I didn't mess up. So I just got a secured one. You have to put 200. I said, well, good, $200. There you go.
Yeah, that works.
It only took 2 months, and I was approved for the house.
Nice. All right. Well, anyone else? Anything to share? All right, Scott, I think you can